Have you ever dreamed of pulling off the perfect crime? One so clean, so audacious, that you vanish into thin air, becoming nothing but a ghost in a story? Not with a violent bang, but with a clever whisper into the stormy night. This is not that story, because the man we're about to meet, he might have actually done it. Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, Portland, Oregon. A man calling himself Dan Cooper buys a one-way ticket to Seattle. He's polite, wearing a business suit, a black tie, and carrying a briefcase. He boards Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, takes seat 18C, orders a bourbon and soda, and lights a cigarette. And then, he passes a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. She thinks it's a phone number, tucks it away. He leans in. His voice becomes calm, chillingly matter-of-fact. "Miss, you should look at that note. I have a bomb." The perfectly planned performance had begun. Inside the briefcase, a glimpse of red cylinders, wires, and batteries. His demand? $200,000 in cash, all negotiable $20 bills, and 4 parachutes, in exchange for the 36 souls on board. Think about the cool nerve this took. While the plane circled Seattle, Cooper was calm. He let the passengers go in exchange for the money and parachutes. He even, slight hint of amused disbelief, refused the military's emergency skydiving gear, insisting on civilian, manually operated parachutes. He was checking, verifying. This wasn't a panic, it was a checklist. With the ransom aboard and only the crew left, Cooper gave new orders: fly to Mexico, but at a mere 10,000 feet, with a rear stairway lowered. The Boeing 727 could do that. He knew it. This was a critical detail he had researched. And somewhere over the dark, freezing, rain-lodged forests of southwestern Washington, between Seattle and Reno, with the wind screaming at 200 miles an hour, Dan Cooper, now burdened with a bag of cash and 2 parachutes, stepped back into the abyss. It was 8:13 p.m. He was never seen again. What followed was the largest, most feverish manhunt in FBI history. Soldiers, FBI agents, and volunteers scoured every inch of the projected drop zone. They found nothing. For years, nothing. Then, in 1980, a boy playing on the banks of the Columbia River unearthed $5,880 of the ransom money, rotting and buried in the sand. The serial numbers matched. But of Cooper? Not a belt, not a scrap of parachute, not a bone. He became D.B. Cooper due to a media mix-up, a ghost with the wrong initials. And the theories? They exploded. He was a skilled paratrooper, a disgruntled aerospace employee, a CIA operative, or maybe he didn't survive the jump at all. The legend fed on the lack of answers. So what makes this case hold us decades later? It's the unanswered questions that itch at our brains. Was he a criminal mastermind who landed, buried the cash, and walked into a new life with a brilliant plan? Or was he an ordinary man who in one desperate, wildly ambitious act leapt into a nightmare he couldn't survive? Did the freezing wind, the treacherous canopy of fir trees, or the dark, raging rivers claim him instantly? The genius of D.B. Cooper is that the evidence fits both stories perfectly. The careful planning suggests survival. The utter disappearance suggests a tragic end. The FBI closed the case in 2016, no closer to a final answer. Wistful, the genius of D.B. Cooper achieved a strange kind of immortality. He became a folk hero to some, a cautionary tale to others. He changed aviation security forever, leading to locking cockpit doors and universal passenger screening. But at its heart, this isn't a story about money or planes. It's a story about a shadow, A man who stepped out of a perfectly ordinary life into a moment of terrifying, legendary audacity, and then simply faded into the American night. He left us with just a suit, a tie, a name that wasn't his, and a question that echoes through the decades. Who was D.B. Cooper, and where did he go?